Christ Self. Remember, your Christ Self, in brackets higher mental body, knows your every requirement and does release it. The Christ Self is a feeling being as well as a mental being. It is the silent watcher of the individual. It regulates the amount of energy flowing through the silver cord. The increasing pressure of cosmic light is causing every life stream through the Christ Self to choose either for the light or otherwise. The presence called into action compels selective discriminative activities of the Christ Self. Alertness is the discriminative selective intelligence of the Christ Self. Your Christ Self will not stay close to you when there is discord in the feelings, but recedes. Your presence, through your Christ Self, is your only judge. The presence and Christ Self are really one in action. Your Christ Self is, or should be, your divine director. Have you ever thought where the dividing line is? It is where the human and the divine meet, the Christ Self. Christ is a principle. Jesus was the man. The Christ principle is that energy that can no longer be contaminated by the human. Your Christ Self decides what can be done for you. It goes to the presence, talks to it, and gets authority. The Christ Self is the spokesman. It acts through the direction of the presence. Ascended Master Consciousness is consciousness which has attained perfection. The Christ Self calls to the Ascended Masters, who project their consciousness, the Master's feeling of having attained, into the feeling of the individual, brackets the outer self. This gives the assistance the Christ Self requires, and it can then do what it wants done. Since the outer self has not yet made the ascension, the Christ Self does not have the feeling of attainment, which of course the Ascended Master has. On retiring, charge your Christ Self to take command and produce perfection while your body sleeps. You can charge the body with youth and beauty. You can cause your Christ Self to demand certain things. Your Christ Self will render the service for which you have called when it sees there is no questioning in you. During transition, at the time just before passing, a person cannot speak an untruth. This is so because their own Christ Self has taken command. Your Christ Self wants perfection for you more than you do, more than you can know in the outer mind. It is the one who brings you in contact with instruction when you are seeking it. With the assistance of the Ascended Ones, who also want your perfection, this Christ Self draws you in a perfectly natural way in contact with this or some teaching of truth. Sometimes people do not accept but ridicule or criticize and go their own merry way. That is just like slamming the door on your Christ Self, slamming the door in its face. Christ is the action of God, and the full power of its manifestation will make you divine. The heart is divine. That organ in your body is divine. Protective pillar of light. In the beginning, when individuals came forth, there was a natural protection around each one. It was not a self-conscious creation. As the discord of mankind increased, rents and tears were imposed upon it, and it diminished more and more till it was practically gone. Now, we need to go into action, apply the law, and again build this pillar of protection. This time, consciously. Being a conscious creation, it cannot be dissipated as before. In some teachings, something is known about this protection, but it has been more or less vague. In brackets, sometimes it is called tube, belt, or circle. The pillar of light originally was about 9 feet in diameter. It was really the stream of light from the presence, or silver cord. As mankind became more and more discordant, the silver cord became smaller and smaller. That was in mercy to the outer self, because if too much energy were released into its use, it would annihilate itself by misqualifying the energy. The silver cord is made up of a stream of electronic energy, that is, the stream of life and the connection of the outer self with its source. It is pure energy, primal life, unqualified. It takes on the qualification according to the free will of the individual. This primal life is elemental substance, which is charged or vowed to obey the creative principle, to obey the threefold flame in the heart according to free will. That is how mankind has created discord and also the accumulated good in the causal body. This protective pillar is a tube or pillar of pure light substance, invisible to the ordinary sight, but can be seen with the inner sight. It is not hollow inside like a tube. There is light all the way through, like a pillar, in, through, and around your body, for a radius of about 3, in brackets, or up to 9, feet, condensed at the outer edge like a crust to make it impenetrable to anything not of light. Divine love. Brackets, in the beginning, it is usually better to visualize it only 6 feet in diameter until one has gained a momentum. Close brackets. It is charged in, through, and around the physical body. It extends from above the head to below the feet, giving protection to the inner bodies as well as the physical. Have the feeling, the consciousness of it as a live thing, an action, not as a cut and dried mould or form. It is light in action. It is vibrating. It can be drawn forth from your presence of life and through daily application become absolutely invincible to discord or anything not of light, God, good. Not one thing can go through that pillar of light. You know all evil returns to the sender. When we get our protection around us, it is reverted right back. Otherwise, it is a more lengthy process. There are cases of those known as masters in India who can stand and let someone shoot at them with a .22 caliber rifle. The bullet goes to about 3 feet from their body, flattens, and falls to the ground. This shows it came up against something, an obstruction it could not penetrate. That is the master's pillar of light, which he has drawn around himself. This has been witnessed many times by travellers in India and by army and navy men in service. The pillar of light is formed by the release of light, energy, from the presence. It is projected from its hands, heart or head, and also by the intensification or expansion of one's own light through the points of light in every cell of the body. Aside from protection, the pillar of light is a constant radiance of perfection, pouring off and absorbed by your bodies. The very atmosphere is electronic substance. The presence might gather it to make this pillar of light invincible. It is up to you to keep the feeling so harmonized that discord won't break through. We should then always maintain harmony in the feelings. Power of qualification, vision, and attention are your weapons of invincible protection. Speak to your own God presence in love as you would speak to a father. Beloved magic I am presence, brackets, project and establish. Intensify your protective pillar of pure substance of light in, through, and around me. Charged with your invincible protection, all-powerful and impenetrable, which keeps me absolutely insulated to everything not of the light, and keep it sustained. Make and keep me ever sensitive to you and your direction, and immune to all imperfect vibratory rates. Then visualize it in, through, and around your physical body for about 3 feet or as far as your outstretched arm will reach, seeing the edge crystallized. In brackets, when you feel it has been established, you can then use intensify in place of project and establish, close brackets. Of course, it must be understood that this pillar of light is an inner action, therefore a 4-dimensional activity. The pillar of protection is pliable and will bend or conform to circumstances. It can give protection to you from destructive forces emanating from a person sitting next to you, or even touching your physical body. To charge the body, to recharge yourself quickly, close the pillar of light at the bottom. When you feel sufficiently energized, mentally open it up again and have the consciousness of it being open. Otherwise, one can get an overcharge. Ordinarily, see or visualize it open at the bottom, extending on down below your feet into the earth, except when you are low in energy and feel the need of more energy and wish to charge yourself. Then see it closed about 3 feet below the feet. You can call to the presence to charge you with Herculean strength and energy. Something like this: My magic I am presence, charge, charge, charge me with your Herculean strength and energy and perfect health. In privacy, you can raise your hands to the presence and, as if you took the substance from the presence, charge it into your world by charging and drawing your hands down at your sides. To many people, it gives a feeling of actually being done, whereas just speaking alone does not. It helps convince the outer. Since it is a feeling that really brings results, it is well to do whatever will give one the feeling of it being done. When you feel replenished, see again the pillar of light open at the bottom. For strength, visualize the ray of light from the presence, and in it a touch of blue. When contemplating the presence and feel yourself expanding, be sure the pillar of light is open at the bottom. Aside from your call for protection, which your attention held in the presence which is perfection, that is a protection in itself, because there is no quality or imperfection to attach to or draw in. Aside from your call for protection, with your attention held on the presence which is perfection, that is a protection in itself, because there is no quality or imperfection to attach to or draw in. This pillar can become invincible protection against everything of a discordant quality in the outer world. Thereby, one can be disconnected from the mass pressure of the discord of mankind that is in the atmosphere. One must have more than ordinary protection when entering this stream of life. In the morning, charge the pillar of light with cosmic divine love. You can charge it to dissolve every particle of discord you contact that day. Also, charge it with acceptance and confidence of power of light. This protection was also called forth for our beloved Americas by the students, individually and collectively. After the war broke out in 1942, it was seen by some people on board a ship a few miles out in the Pacific Ocean and reported in the newspaper. Circle of blue flame. Because of the tremendous discord in the atmosphere of Earth, Sanat Kumara, known as Ancient of Days in the Bible, offered assistance in protection for those stepping upon the pathway of light. The students on the path, moving in the outer world, could not draw forth of their own accord enough light for their protection against the great pressures of discord. Sanat Kumara offered, at the students' calls, to place the blue flame of his divine love outside the protective pillar of light as added protection. It is sustained by their daily acknowledgement and calls for it. Sanat Kumara has since been replaced by Lord Gautama. Therefore, we now call to him instead. Always give your attention to your own presence first, then to the beings or activities which can assist you, those whom you wish to invoke. The call can be made in this manner: My magic I am presence and beloved Lord Gautama, surround my protective pillar of light with your circle of blue flame and give me whatever added protection is required. I thank you. Then picture this circle of blue flame completely surrounding your pillar of white light. See it about 4 inches thick. Armour of light. A person can also call forth and draw an armour of light around himself for protection. Picture Visualize it made of golden light substance, fitting closely around the body. It is similar to the ones used in ancient warfare, with helmet and all, similar to those worn by the crusaders and warriors. And where did they get the idea? From inner, of course. As the psychic or astral realm came into being, the masters and beings would enter that realm to give assistance. They devised for themselves an armor of light for protection from those forces. They entered that realm to give assistance that was required by discarnates, brackets, those are individuals having passed through so-called death, close brackets, caught in the physical realm. Transmuting violet flame. Life has provided the transmuting violet flame as the way and means by which mankind can, through conscious application, harmoniously change and transmute wrong conditions and all that is less than perfect. The violet flame is the activity of divine love which consumes or transmutes. It is that rate of vibration. Violet flame is divine alchemy. It cleanses the force fields of the electrons composing the atom, which produces a change in vibratory action and results in divine alchemy. The use of the violet flame will change vibratory rates and through transmutation bring about transformation. It is an action of mercy and compassion. The flame of transmutation is an action of the seventh ray. It is coming in now at the close of the sixth ray, the Christian dispensation which has reigned for the last 2,000 years with the Master Jesus in charge. The knowledge of this phase of the law regarding the use of the transmuting flame was not permitted to be made public until recently. Jesus referred to it as grace. Violet flame is a grace from God. You can call it forth into action in, through, and around you. Through its use, you can begin to balance your account to life by expiating karma while yet here in the physical body, transmuting the discordantly qualified energy of this lifetime and all previous ones. This will bring freedom in your being and world. It can transform your world when applied sufficiently. The use of violet flame is a science. Its transmuting activity is as scientific and as practical as melting ice, brackets over a fire, into water and with greater heat turning it into steam. Through the use of fire, brackets note fire, flame, the vibratory action is changed, which changes its consistency. The transmuting violet flame will do the same with qualities of a wrong nature in the inner bodies and the physical body too. The smell of violet flame is like ozone. It is an inner action of the violet ray from the sun to the earth, of which science knows. The transmuting violet flame may be likened unto an eraser. When used sufficiently, one can erase from his life stream all that is not of the light that has accumulated. It is not just a repression of karma, making it inactive, but actually changes the vibratory action and makes the discord or wrong qualities non-existent. The transmuting violet flame is what will dissolve your human creation. That is the reason it was provided by the cosmic beings. In some teachings, through sheer will, students are able to push back, as it were, this misqualified and destructively qualified energy, karma, as it is called in the East. In that way, many healings are effected, but that energy is not redeemed, transmuted, or purified. Therefore, it sometimes happens that at a later time, when the pressure of will is released or no longer sufficient to hold back that creation of misqualified energy, then the disease again manifests. That is what is generally not understood. But with the use of the transmuting violet flame, it can be transmuted, and that is permanent unless one recreates the same qualities. All manifestation comes from the unseen, from the inner into the outer, brackets, that which is perceived by the senses. Distress and disease are results of causes set up on the inner. They are conditions in the mental and emotional bodies caused by wrong thought and feeling. Therefore, for a permanent cure, one must remove the cause instead of just treating the effect. This can be done through the use of the sacred fire, particularly the transmuting violet flame, which will dissolve the human creation. By its use, one can alleviate suffering and furthermore prevent it. Suffering is a purging, an action of the fire element in the physical body, caused by previously created discord, (karma). With enough use of the transmuting flame, the cause of suffering, which is in the mental and feeling worlds, can be transmuted and balanced before it outpictures in the physical and is experienced in suffering. Disease is energy heavily charged with discord, and it may take very intense action of the violet flame to completely transmute it. Now, through the teachings of the Ascended Masters, particularly the one known as Saint Germain, the use of the transmuting fire has been given to mankind. It is also known as the violet flame, being violet or purple in colour according to its intensity, and is one action of the sacred fire. The violet flame is radiance from the freedom flame. It is the consuming, transmuting activity. It has the power to transmute and redeem all that is not perfect. By the use of the transmuting violet flame, forces that are acting to prevent one's success can be removed. It will dissolve appearances and the accumulation of the ages. What causes limitation? It is this accumulation around the human form. Tragedies occur because one has not used the violet flame earnestly enough. They are caused by past momentum of things in your stream of life. To use the transmuting violet flame daily is most imperative. As the attention goes to the presence, more and more of the accumulated misqualified energy of the past will come forth for redemption. Be grateful for its coming forth, so it can be redeemed. Then it will not come into action in an unguarded moment and cause distress or an accident. You will feel a lightness, a lack of the former pressure. Do not fear it, but call to the Christ self to draw it forth into the transmuting flame and command it to be completely transmuted, cause, core, record, effect, and memory. As you call for the violet flame, a ray comes from the hands, heart or head of the presence or the Christ self, (higher mental body), and as it touches the surface beneath your feet, it bursts into flame. Also, there is the potential violet flame in the flame of the heart and in the points of light in every cell, but it is latent. It can, however, be activated at any time by calling the presence into action. There are 3 actions of the violet flame. It blazes up, in and around us. It is the points of light in every cell, and there is the action of the cosmic light. It is well to call on the law of forgiveness just before calling for the violet flame. By calling for the many, we release greater forgiveness for ourselves. We can say, "Beloved magic I am presence, I call on, or I am, the law of forgiveness for myself and all mankind for all mistakes, misqualified energy, human consciousness, and for straying from the light." One can call forth the violet flame something like this: "Magic I am presence, blaze through and around me the transmuting violet flame, thy sacred fire. Purify and transmute now all impure desires, hard feelings, wrong concepts, imperfect etheric records, causes, cause, effects, and memories, known or hidden. Keep this flame sustained and all-powerfully active. Replace all by pure substance, power of accomplishment, and the divine plan fulfilled." You can repeat the call 7 times, (3 or 7, in succession, at least in the beginning, as it helps to anchor and make it real in your consciousness. Meanwhile, picture, mentally see it in brackets, like a soothing flame, violet or purple in colour, penetrating your very being and world, right up through your body, going between the cells that make up your body, organs, bones, and all. The physical body is not completely solid, as it seems. It is a small universe, microcosm in brackets, in itself, there being space between the cells. Visualize a flame as you might see it in a fireplace, but see it violet or purple in colour. Some have gotten good results by turning on and lighting a gas jet, then watching the flame until they got the feeling and interaction of it. It is to get the feeling of it that really brings results. It does not cause a burning sensation, but gives a joyous, comforting feeling, relaxes, and makes you feel lighter. You can qualify it to be warm, or in overwarm weather, you can qualify it to be cool. Hold that visualization for 15 minutes or as long as you can comfortably do so, or have time for it. The use of the violet flame will not harm anyone, but it can and will transmute distress, irritation, anger, lack, and limitations, bad habits, and disease. It will give you a freedom never experienced before. You can make the following call to beings who have offered their assistance since the students were not handling conditions sufficiently. Beloved Lord Gautama, Archangel Michael, and Ascended Master Jesus, charge into this violet flame your purifying, dissolving power of divine love in its most powerful, dynamic activity. In the use of the violet flame, there is naturally left in the place of what was transmuted some pure substance, but we need to call forth more of the perfect qualities. Therefore, after using the purifying action, it is well to call forth or charge your world with constructive qualities that you require or desire. You can simply say, "My magic I am presence, charge me with perfect health, joy, happiness, illumination, love, wisdom, power, abundant supply, with ascended Jesus Christ consciousness," or whatever you may require. Use the transmuting violet flame with great intensity. Call for it as if your very life depended upon it. To control the feelings, when you feel anything not of happiness at the solar plexus, feel the violet flame flash up quickly and come out at the heart as a golden flame and blaze it through the other personal condition which is the cause of distress. If it is a mental thing that bothers you, blaze it up through the head. Then feel the fullness of the presence. The position of one who has not contacted this understanding of the law of the I am is different from one who has. When one does give attention to the presence, the accumulation of the past begins to be drawn forth. That is, for the purpose of being transmuted, redeemed, brackets, so the individual may become free. All misqualified energy seeks redemption. With the violet flame, the record is transmuted. Not only qualities of discord. With the violet flame, the record is transmuted, not only qualities of discord. If it were not so, that record would draw to it again the same quality. Purgatory is not a place of damnation imposed by God. It is a state of consciousness which is experienced at inner levels after so-called death, when the individual is aware of his wrongdoings. When one is freed from the physical body, the awareness is many, many times more acute. One need not remain there forever. One can expiate his wrongdoings, karma in brackets, to a certain extent and enter into higher realms, mansions not made with hands. When Jesus said, "Thy sins are forgiven thee, go forth and sin no more," what happened? Jesus called on the law of forgiveness for the other person and called forth the act of the transmuting violet flame, which transmuted the wrongly qualified energy and corrected the condition. By sin no more, he meant to not recreate the same condition through the use of the faculties of attention, vision, and qualification, meaning by this to change one's thought and feeling so as not to reproduce the same conditions or bring about a reoccurrence.